Welcome into Talkin' Beavers. I'm Amanda Maynard. We have plenty of baseball talk ahead on the show as we sit down with Pat Casey. Plus, we're talking a little football with Ryan Nall, what he thinks about Thomas Tyner joining the team, and we'll break down the quarterback battle for you. But of course, the Beavers baseball team falls short of a national championship after a historic run. Mike Parker has been there for the ride, and he's sitting down with Pat Casey in our standard TV and appliance interview.
Kyle Kasser at second, Steer at first, the 3-2 pitch, swung on and missed! The Beavers hang on and win it, and they are the outright Pac-12 champions!
The call from Femmel. In the air, left field. Quan at the wall. Oregon State is going back to Omaha. Up the middle, it gets through. Two will come around for Oregon State. And it's a one-run game.
They're not accidentally 54-4, folks.
Popped him up. Anderson's got a beat on it, and Oregon State runs its winning streak to 22.
Harris in left field, gapping. That one is gonna go over the wall. A grand slam, and the first one ever at TD Ameritrade.
What an amazing 2017 season. And so I don't know what your thoughts are as we try to just a few days removed from the amazing season. And I know ultimately some heartbreak and disappointment in the end, but what a year this was for your club.
Yeah, you know, I think the guys obviously had an unbelievable season. And, you know, our goal was to win it all. I think when the bar is set that high that it and you're disappointed because you go to the College World Series and only win 2 games, that's a pretty good thing. When you play 62 games and you win 56, you know, you don't want to lose 2 of them that you lost. You don't want it to happen at the time it happened. But, you know, I got to give these guys all the credit in the world for what they accomplished and how they continued to stay focused and stay on task. You know, you're a Pac-12 champion, you're a regional champion, you're a super regional champion. And so, you know, you got to remember those things. And I'm not expecting it not to hurt a little bit because it should. I mean, that's what we're out there for, is to win the whole thing. It's just a little bit hard when you think about how much effort and how much time and what this season meant to guys that people would feel like, and they feel like, hey, well, we just didn't get it done, you know. We finished 3rd or 4th in the country. Yeah. And so that part bothers me a little bit because they should be feeling better about themselves.
Quan swinging away, sends it into the left field corner. Duplantis deep back. It is off the pole and foul.
Wow.
Ooh, that's
fair.
Boys.
That ball's fair.
That is a fair ball.
It should be a reviewable play. We don't know why they chose not to review it. In a game like this could be the difference.
Your players were so gracious in the immediate aftermath of the defeat after a game in which some of the things you touched on, we all saw, the nation saw. But they said, hey, you know, we need to make adjustments. They were very accountable about it. Pulling back a little bit, what can or can anything be done to help fix that?
Well, I'm assuming that the NC2A committee will take a look at how things were called and what things were right and what things need to improve. And that's a tough gig to be an umpire. I mean, these plays happen quickly. I think there has to be more review. I've talked to our guys about how you handle those things, and they handle them properly. And like I said, I'm the guy that needs to get them across the finish line, and I don't feel like that I was able to do that. That disappoints me. There's never a day I don't go out and give it my best effort. But when we got to the end, you know, I wish that there was something I could have done or said or helped myself, our staff, to get them over the finish line. And it doesn't mean that you're going to win the game. You know, we played a red-hot team. They played a red-hot team. We couldn't score runs in the last 18 innings of the season. We just couldn't get something going offensively. And in the last game, it was difficult because, you know, it's really hard to hit 93 to 95. It's really hard to hit 93 to 95 when you have 8 to 10 inches to work with off the plate. It's hard to even get to the pitch. So that part was, I think, frustrating, and it kind of got to guys a little bit.
On Stephen Quan's ball down the line, is that something, again, with so much at stake and how hard these guys work to put themselves in a position, would you like to just see that triggered automatically somehow as review?
Certainly. And, you know, I came out and asked twice and was told twice that it was foul. The NC2A released a statement that said the crew chief should have reviewed it, and that's what I was expecting to happen. They later came out and said that even though it's not in the ground rules, the fence is part of the ground. I should have pressed it. I should have kept asking them. I should have done anything we could do. We don't have technology in the dugout. They won't allow that for us to see, you know, the ball there. You know, certainly we would at least had another run that inning, and we got beat 3-1. Who knows how that would have changed it? Who knows? So that part is you know, something that we, if we could obviously do it over again, we would challenge that. But I, you know, it is what it is.
Back up the middle. Freeman kicks the bag to finish it. And LSU's going back to the College World Series Finals. So ends one of the best regular seasons in college baseball history on the Oregon State side.
The incredible experience and team that you had, it's kind of hard to let go of some things that you feel like could have been a little bit different, and that makes it hard. But we keep pulling back to 27-3, 56-6, Coach of the Year, Pitcher of the Year, Player of the Year, All-Americans, National Team USA guys. It's what 2017 is really, even with these things, but they're hard to let go because of all of that.
Well, and because we had cashed all that in for the national championship. I don't think there's anybody that won an award, an individual award, that wouldn't have said, we'll take the big ring in exchange for that. You guys can pick whoever you want for Coach of the Year, Pitcher of the Year, Player of the Year. We feel that way anyway. Been to Omaha 5 times, probably come back as disappointed as any time I've ever been there, including going 0 for 2. And so, like I said, I feel it. I understand it. What I can't do is walk around and wear that to the point where I feel like my players don't get to feel the accomplishment of what they did in this season. They're champion in my mind. They were Pac-12 champions, like I said. They've won repeatedly, had the highest GPA of anybody in the College World Series. You know, I want somebody to tell those guys in 10 years, hey, you know, guys should have won the national championship. So am I disappointed and down and a little bit, you know, it's hard, man. You know, it's hard. You go to war with those guys. You go in the locker room with those guys. You get on the bus with those guys. You get out of bed with those guys. You fight with those guys. And, you know, maybe some of the things that I'm most proud about are how they handled all the things that were thrown at them. And they just went out and played, and it even made them better.
Ryan Nall up the middle. He could go. Gone.
Later in the show, Ryan Nall talks about what the football team can learn from the baseball team. But up next, we continue the conversation with Pat Casey as he weighs in on the Beavers' future. Here's what Coach Casey tweeted after their loss to LSU. We didn't achieve the ultimate goal of a national title, but that will only create a stronger will in 2018. Mike Parker continuing his conversation with Coach Casey right now.
Pat, the team a year ago at the end of the season, they just became extremely motivated by the way the season ended. It's a much different kind of ending this year after the year they had, but you said all year long, from the day they walked out of that selection day to they just went about their business every day studiously, conscientiously, and bought in at every conceivable level. Does it strike you in any way that even though you're in Omaha and you win 2 games in the College World Series, that there may, for a lot of these guys, you hope to carry a similar motivation? Hey, we've got a lot to work for 2018.
Yeah, you know, it's a little bit like when we went back there in 05 and we didn't win any games, and we felt like, hey, you know, there's a greater purpose for being back here than just saying we played in the College World Series. You know, those guys, the one thing about the World Series when you get back there as a player for the first time, you're blown away by how you're treated. You're blown away about how big it is, how many people are there to support you, what a great event it really is. And so, you know, that part, I'm so happy that they got to experience that.
And one thing, Mike, Coach Casey did not want to talk about was the status of Luke Heimlich, his future here at Oregon State. I know Luke, in his statement, had said he hopes to return next season as a student athlete. What do you think his future is at the school?
Well, President Ray has said that he is certainly welcome to come back as a student and to participate on the baseball team. So it's my expectation that Luke will be part of the team next year. At least that's the way I look at it now. And he was the Pac-12 Pitcher of the Year and one of the best pitchers in the country, obviously. So we'll wait and see how it all plays out. It's obviously been a very painful and sensitive, difficult issue to deal with, but it's my expectation that he'll be in school and that he'll be on the team. There may be some other things still that we'll need to all kind of look at and learn about together, but I think come next year, he'll be part of Pat Casey's club. And
in addition to, again, potentially having, again, a pitcher of his caliber, this is a team that has a lot of guys coming back in 2018. How excited should Beavers fans be that, I mean, again, you look at the historic nature of this season, all the things that they've done, but the future is just as bright next season.
It is. And there was no Kevin Gunderson as there was at the end of the 2005 trip when they lost to Kevin in the media room in Omaha said, the Beavers will be back, I guarantee it. It was a memorable moment, and guys kind of took, I think, a lot of life from that. They went back in 06 and won it. They went back in 07 and won it. There was nobody with that kind of bravado in that kind of situation this past season, but I think the spirit of Kevin Gunderson will be alive and well with the guys as they prepare diligently for the 2018 season as they did this year. They felt snubbed a year ago and went to work on it, and I think they all collectively feel as though they came up a little short of their ultimate goal, and that will drive them. And just from a pure baseball standpoint, if you're strong up the middle, you always have a chance to be good. They have the best catcher in the country, in my opinion, beginning there in Adley Rutschman. And then after that, Caden Grenier at short, Nick Madrigal at second base, Stephen Kwan in center. Up the middle, the Beavers will be as good as anybody in the country, and their pitching will be good again, too.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Mike. Up next, we're transitioning to a little football action. Ryan Nall talks about how he thinks Thomas Tyner can be a game changer for this team.
Kind of two local guys kind of running the state.
Ryan Nall up to middle. He could go. Gone.
And good block by Stanton. Nall into the open field. 45-40, cuts back 30, 25-20, 15 to the 10. Touchdown, Beavers, 80 yards for Ryan Nall.
Well, what a season last year for Ryan Nall, and Beavers fans can look forward to an even more potent backfield this season with the addition of Thomas Tyner. Lindsay Schnell sitting down with Ryan Nall in our Les Schwab interview of the week.
Okay, so Ryan, this offseason, you guys had a great end of the year. So what have you been thinking about, working towards, setting team goals?
Yeah, I mean, the end of the year was a great way for us to finish. It didn't necessarily go our way, but we finished with some momentum, and we took that momentum into winter break and into spring ball, and now in transitioning to summer, we're still carrying that momentum. And you know, we got a couple of goals for us as a team and as units and as individuals, players, for us to kind of just, you know, make sure that we're moving in the right directions. You know, some of those goals are weight goals, strength goals, and academic goals. You know, making sure that we're being the best that we can be.
Okay, so we're standing here in Research Stadium. Yeah. You grew up a Beaver fan, yeah, and you're a local kid. Now you got another local running back on the roster in Thomas Tyner. What will that be like? Have you thought about having like a 1-2 punch of two stud Northwest kids, what that means to the program?
Yeah, I mean, I thought about it, you know, a couple times here and there, what it would be like, kind of two local guys kind of running the state. And I think it would be pretty cool seeing us, you know, get back into it. You know, Thomas, he joined us officially yesterday, had our first workout together, and I like where things are going.
So the baseball team just returned from Omaha, had an incredible run through the College World Series. What can you guys take from their success?
One of the biggest things I noticed from watching them is their unity as a team. And I think that's one thing we can take from there and build off of that.
So what have your personal goals been for the off season? Did you want to get to 600 pounds on your squat max, run a 40 faster? What kind of tangible things did you put in place this year?
So I guess I'll just list a few of my social, academic, and athletic goals. So one for social is try to know my professors more. So
That's awesome.
in the classroom, not only, you know, academically, but like go up and talk to them after class. That was kind of one of my goals. I felt like I've been, you know, kind of lacking in that area, getting to know my professors more. And then for academic is, you know, to continue to try to get no less than a 3-point, preferably all A's. That's always the goal. And
what are you majoring in?
Communications.
Okay. So what do you want to be besides an NFL player?
That's a good question. You know, I've got a few ideas. Maybe a salesman, maybe an on-air broadcaster, maybe a coach. Who knows? I'm not sure, and that's why I know communications is such a, you know, broad major. And that's why it's a, you know, good thing for a lot of different things. And then athletically, I did, you know, set a new PR on my box squat with 600, and also on the field, just making sure that you know, I master playbook and become a leader in that aspect.
Okay, so what have you been doing for fun this summer? Because this is the time that you guys get to decompress a little. So you watch some baseball games. We go to some Corvallis Knights games.
Yeah, I mean, we just got back off a little break here, and I was home for all of it, so that was nice. I was able to see my family. My brother graduated from Portland State. Congratulations to him. And I was just kind of hanging out. Like I said, I played a lot of golf. My girlfriend's dad is a turf specialist salesman, and he gets he you know, he helped me with some tips and stuff like that. So I was able to you know, really kind of just get out there. And my dad lent me some of his old clubs, and I don't know, for some reason I get really into golf for some reason. But I was
it's soothing.
It is soothing. You know, it kind of takes your mind off of stuff, and especially when you're not having a good day, you can go out and hit it really hard, or you can just, you know, just have fun with it.
Okay, last question, because we're standing in front of this huge, new, beautiful Valley Center.
Oh, yeah.
What's your single favorite part about the remodel?
Definitely the locker room. I mean, it's the best. It's beautiful. It's big, spacious. It looks cool. I mean, the lockers are huge. We have our own cold and hot tubs in it. It's probably my favorite part of it, definitely.
Up next, Beavers still searching for their starting signal caller. Who has the edge after the break? Some legendary Pac-12 passers hitting the links at Bandon Dunes over the weekend for Joey Harrington's charity golf tournament, the Battle at Bandit. We're bringing the Civil War action a little earlier this year as Jordan Kent catches up with Sean Mannion to get his thoughts on where his Beavers are headed this season.
In your opinion, how important is it for them to find some solid play at the quarterback position, and you know, all the things that come with it, injuries and up and down play, but how important is that position for this team next year?
Well, I think, you know, you ask anybody around football, it's an important position. You know, and I think they've there's been some, you know, they haven't been able to settle on one guy over the past few years, and you know, I've been in those shoes, and it's hard on any player when things are going back and forth. So, you know, I wish all the guys that are competing for that job, you know, nothing but the best, and I'm sure, you know, Coach Anderson's going to, you know, make the right decision, and, you know, whoever it is, I think, just got to take the job and run with it. But, you know, obviously I've been in those shoes, so I understand it's tough when things are kind of rotating. But I think whoever they make a decision towards, I think, you know, they just got to take the job and run with it, and I think things will go really well from there.
Back here with Lindsey Schnell and Mike Parker and Sean Mannion talking about the importance of the quarterback position, obviously. And this race is really pretty wide open, right? Gary Anderson, when he sat down with you, said there's really no separation after spring ball. What are your thoughts about what might happen as we approach fall camp?
Okay, well, I think, first of all, that Mike and I are the president and the vice president of the Marcus McMaryion fan club. I'm still in belief for sure that he's the guy. It's his job to lose. I'm not sure if that's what the coaching staff thinks, but Mike, a lot of people think Luton is going to be the savior of Oregon State football.
Well, I like Jake. I like the fact that it's a three-person race. I think that the competition with all three, with Jake, with Darryl Garrettson, with Marcus McMaryion, is going to be great for all three of those guys. It's going to be great for the football team. I just like the idea that Marcus was the quarterback of record in the last 2 wins, including a Civil War victory.
Ducks.
No, I mean, and the way he handled all of his business. So, you know,
I think his teammates believe in him too.
They do, and that's important, to be able to look a guy in the eye. And I think, you know, but Jake he can spin it. He's got a lot of tremendous skills and tangibles. Darryl Garrettson was a quarterback of record in a big win. So all three guys bring different dimensions. But, You know, yeah, I'd probably say right now, if they had to play tomorrow, the Marcus McMaryion might be slightly ahead, but that's what the summer workouts and the early start to summer camp is for, to find out who plays August 26th at that position.
Mike, do you ever feel, sometimes I feel like Daryl Garrettson is kind of the forgotten musketeer.
Because it was so long ago that he played.
And people were so excited about him,
Yeah.
but I think that, you know, he got banged up, and that's something that Gary brought up, right? In this league, you gotta have 2 quarterbacks, or maybe even 3.
Well, Daryl did some really good things early, and he was a tremendous engineer of that win over Cal. The way he threw the ball at Minnesota showed why the Beavers brought him in, why he came here. So he's not forgotten by any stretch of the imagination by the coaches, by everybody in the room that evaluates every throw, every practice. I agree with you, though, from Beaver Nation's perspective, they might think it's McMaryion and Luton,
Right.
but Daryl's certainly in that mix.
And what's interesting, real quick, is that Gary Anderson didn't rule out playing 2 quarterbacks. So that could be interesting to watch it in fall camp, too.
It's worked for other teams sometimes. I think it's all about if the players buy into it, and the coaching staff and the whole team belief is 90% of the game.
If they fit that complementary mix as well. Well, thanks so much for joining us for another edition of Talkin' Beavers. We'll see you back here in August as we get ready for fall camp.